What's up, guys? Drew here, bringing you another episode in the Let's Talk series. So we brought back another guest. He was on the previous episode. Hopefully, you guys already checked it out.
Hi, this is Arnold. How everybody's doing?
And
What it is, light first in the building. Let's get at it.
normally we talk about personal development, spiritual growth, and current events. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road.
When you even think about it, right? The conditioning, how conditioned we are. And even though we know, but do we really know?
You know, when you walk into these places, right? How you feel? You just felt like you gave up. You just like, you feel like you're selling out. You walk in selling out. When you have conversation, no one has anything positive to say about a job. So at the end of the day, really, what are we doing about it?
Facts.
That's really where it's at, right? It's like it gets to a point where we have to stop complaining and start making actions and start doing what needs to get done, right? It's like we're hopeful that something is going to change, but it's not.
And that's literally right. So it's we just do things to make ourselves feel good, right? And that's just it, right? So literally we just conditionalize ourselves to narrative that is counter to the one that is so apparent, right? Just to get ourselves to push through it, just to make ourselves ultimately feel good through the process. But all we're doing is just suppressing that real feeling in the inside. And we know it sometimes when you just snap for no apparent reasons, because why? You know you got to face this at some point. And that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about at episode 8, part 2, about the shadow. And a lot of this discomfort stuff, being comfortable, right? It goes back to your ego. That's what it is. The ego don't like change. You don't want nothing. You don't want no parts of that. Let's go to the 9 to 5. It's secure, take care of our bills, especially when it's just enough for you to do some other stuff outside of it. You're definitely comfortable, man. You don't need, I'm telling you, you're making 60, 70,000 a year, your bills are paid, you can go do this, do that. You ain't worried about nothing. You're comfortable. So then it would be like, why would you want change? So, but those people, soon enough, as the years go by, you realize that the bracket, the amount of money, it's becoming less. So after a while, 70,000 is going to be nothing. You got to understand that, because a phone costs how much dollars does a phone cost? Almost 1,200 around there.
Yeah.
A cell phone, a brand new cell phone costs 1,200. Remember when a cell phone used to cost like what, 500, less than that, 200? Now it's over 1,000. That's almost rent. Like you're paying rent for a cell phone.
Facts.
But but that's just something that you got to think about. It's just like, are you really comfortable right now? Because the money's coming in, and those people don't think beyond that right there. It's just like, I got a job, it's good. And like Arnold said, at any moment they could say bye. You show up late too many times, you got to let you go. You know what I mean? You've been calling out too much. So if I call out, you're not paying me. If you're paying me, that's different. But if you're not paying me for that day, why do you care if I call out or not? Oh, because you can't find somebody to fill that gap. So they need you there. And then it goes back to originally what we were talking about in the beginning of the video about how the job, you notice that it's a constant theme, So we work the job. It's just, hey, could be a different form of slavery. You don't really know, because you're bound to that. Like you said, you're bound to that. And you won't leave because of what? Money.
It's crazy because people think their job needs them, but you get up and leave today, they'll find somebody else.
Facts.
Yeah.
So it's like, everyone thinks they're like that special employee. Ooh, they need me. They don't need you. You need them.
Facts.
You're giving them that power because you're exchanging your 1 hour for this dollar amount, whatever that is. I guarantee it's not enough. Guarantee it's not. It's nowhere near what you should be getting. But you allow them to do that. So that's why they do it.
Mm-hmm.
People are fighting for $15 an hour. Think about that. Fighting. $15 an hour. What is that? I'm not knocking the amount. I'm just trying to understand. You're fighting to exchange your time for $15 now, and that's an increase. So imagine what they're getting. And we're sitting here at these same businesses just dumping our money into, right? Going buying fast food, understanding this is no good for us, but we're just dumping our money into that. And they can't even give their employees a decent amount of money. But where are these communities? Look at where these businesses are in the community. What communities are these businesses are the most in?
Minorities, Black, facts.
So what are they doing? They're hiring us, paying us under what they should be paying us. And they know that they're positioning these businesses in places where they're going to maximize their income. Look at how much money they're making. But what's happening at the end of the day? But we allow this. It goes back to what you guys are saying. But certain businesses, they're in our neighborhoods. We support them, but they don't support us.
Facts.
And that's a reality. 90%. If you even look, I bet if you're able to poll all the Asian restaurants that are in communities, where do these people live? Not knocking them, but they come in, they take a good amount of money because everybody want their Chinese food. They go take all this money, then they dip out. Where they live.
Right. And don't forget, everybody need their hair. Everybody need their hair. Come on.
You know, if I see and it's crazy because if you see a Black nail shop, people look at it funny.
Preach. Let's go.
It's so conditionalized to not support each other. It's crazy to me.
Let's go.
That's crazy.
Go.
You see a Black nail shop. I don't know. They might not know how to do that.
Goes back, right? Literally, it goes back, right? I promise you, right? If you change the narrative again, right, through how we are shown through every single stream of anything you can think about, right? If this change it, bro, right? I promise you, right? Guess what starts to happen, right? You will then start to develop emotions about that group of people that you're showing, and then you could literally start seeing now some of the prejudice that comes out from that, and you'll see that illustrated in a way wider stream, kind of like where we are as a people right now, right? And that's just it, bro, because that's all you're doing. They're keeping that same narrative continuously going. And yet how they do it? Two celebrities, House of Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, like literally, bro. And then they said, oh, it's so what's entertaining about this, bro? Look, what us be on national TV and make an absolute ass out of ourselves, but then these are the same celebrities that we sit and then idolize, bro. Think about that.
It's funny, and I feel I can't remember the guy that was talking about this, but it says Black people, we sell drama and trauma. That's all that they portray us as. A lot of drama, a lot of extra, just like it's never like a very like we don't sell good stuff. All these reality TV shows, like you were saying, it's always about drama going on. Who's fighting, who's arguing, who's this, who's that. And that's what's portrayed and it's pushed out there. And then we just sit down and like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
You know, but again, right, so it goes, I think it's all relevant to that same question, right, in terms of, so what do we do? And what does that look like? What does it sound like, right? And it seems like it goes back then to the very common thing, which is what? Educate yourself, right? You got to understand the situation that we're in right now. And again, right, it goes back then to the point, right? You have what? A house Negro, and you got yourself a good old field Negro, right? So simple as that, right? So there's levels to it, right? So as you go to the levels of being a house Negro, you might be very comfortable in your captivity. Master treating you good, you comfortable, you're making a decent wage. Those people treat you good, you could rub shoulders with them, you right, boom, 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 and that's good, right? Hey, that's you, right? And if you comfortable, stay being comfortable, right? But the fact that you got a group of people who might feel like, nah, enough is enough, this is absolute bullcrap, right? You know, like clearly nothing is changing, right? We're the ones who still being attacked. We're the ones who still have to always focus on someone else's feelings when it comes to the things that happens to us. Think about that. We have to worry about how it might sound in front of them. And this is something that's happening to us. What? Oh, really? Oh, you can't talk about it. No, only protesting when we're out there holding signs can we say, that Black Lives Matter. But place at work, no. Think about that, because that's offensive. For who? But yeah, so it just really just goes back to some of these things that we just have to just again understand, educate yourself, and from there understanding again what you feel is necessary for you in terms of whatever that might be in terms of activism, developing mentorship, whatever the case may be, right? But again, this right here, this uniting, coming together, amplifying that message, us being on one page, right? Us staying on code, right? Us not hating on each other, and from a perspective that makes it, that adds to their narrative, right? And then when you see these things happening, right, we got to be okay with calling out those people on it, bro, because those are the people. Again, you got house Negroes and you got those good old field Negroes, bro, and it's just as simple as that. And and that's just what it is.
You want to know what's interesting? If somebody told me last year that next year Halloween you would be recording videos and not out partying, I wouldn't believe it. I, would, I wouldn't believe it. Be like, wait, doing what? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But things change, man, and that's it goes back to what you were saying about getting outside your comfort zone. It goes back to you educating yourself and learning about yourself too. Because if you don't learn about yourself, how are you gonna even know where the edge of your comfort zone is?
Facts.
And it's like legit doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's just insanity, bro. It's really what that is. So, it goes back to all of the things that we just previously went over. Educating yourself, diversifying your income. Those are the starting points right there. So that way, you get to a level where I don't even need a 9 to 5 anymore. You know what I mean? Then I'm my own boss. If I feel like working today, I will. If I don't have to. That's the type of level we need to get to. So, but it starts with just asking why and not accepting things that everybody tell you, just like Life First said, just because 100 people told you doesn't mean that it's true. You just heard it from those first 100. Maybe the next person will tell you something completely different and it could change your life. You never know. So do your research and, educate yourself.
All right, guys. So what do you guys think, right? So we gonna entertain you guys for a little bit, right? We're gonna entertain the community for a little bit, right? We're gonna talk about some elections, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my opinion in terms of who I think is gonna become the next president is Donald Trump. So I think Donald Trump is gonna remain the president. I don't think he's leaving office. That's just my opinion. Am I gonna vote for him? Hell no. Am I gonna vote? No. But in terms of I think he will stay president and he'll remain in office. That's just what I think. That's just my opinion.
I don't really see where he's gonna lose, but the aftermath, how's it gonna play out? Because a lot of people don't like him. For what reason? I would like to ask him, why don't you like him? Because they said he was, or is it because you know that he is?
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah, because they told you that. Where'd you get that information from? The news? Okay. All right. That's a reliable source.
I feel like Donald Trump's going to win. And personally, right, and not because I want him to win per se, right, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no president has ever done anything for me,
Mm-hmm.
right, and they're not going to start doing stuff for me,
Mm-hmm.
right, but at the same time, I understand that there's a lot of people that follow Donald Trump that are very angry, right? So do I think we're in a better state if he wins? Yes, because the people that will kind of retaliate if he loses I just think we don't need that right now.
Mm.
Personally, that's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
especially
Right?
especially our community.
Do
You
I
know what I
believe
mean?
anything's going to change in terms of obviously Biden wins, Donald Trump's back? Do I feel like all of a sudden now we're going to have, red carpets rolling out of my front yard? Of course not, right? Things are going to be the exact same way, either one of them winning. The only difference, like that, I just want to clear up, is that I do believe if Donald Trump loses, the ramifications from that, in terms of from people that don't want him to, that's mad that he loses, is going to be greater than what will happen if Biden loses. Personally,
Mm. True.
um, so
Let me ask you a question, right? So when you say in regards to ideally you would prefer Trump when because of based upon the narrative that's being put out there, right? So you have a bunch of people that's a part of his base, his group that already said publicly, right? Like, yo, Trump don't win. Yeah, we about to start, shooting shit up, right? So now, when you think about that, right? So in regards to this particular group saying that they're about to start shooting shit up, right? What's your take? Do you think that they're going to be attacking people within our community, the Black community, or you think that these individuals is just going to start clapping anybody's moving in the streets? It's just going to be an all out. We're just going to start shooting up everyone.
I think it'll definitely become a Republican versus a Democrat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much a black and white piece. It'll probably be played out like a black and white piece, but I think it'll definitely become or did you not like Trump? All right, so boom, you're now a target.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm pro-life, right? So anything that I feel like is going to reduce the amount of violence, I will always be on board with that, right? Personally, right? It's I'm not going to sit here and say, that if I felt in my heart that Biden was going to come on and do something that's going to be unbelievable for us, then I would have said, yeah, I would love for him to win. But I don't feel that way, right? Because I would take those, whatever comes with that. But knowing that it seems like it's like the same person per se, right? What are you getting, right? Everyone's going to tell you, well, this guy is big on this, that guy's big on that. But at the end of the day, right? Neither one of these guys are going to do anything for us at a local. Nobody talks about what they're going to do about police reform, right? They all tickle on it, but they don't talk about that. They don't talk about what they're going to do specifically in Black communities to help uplift us as a people. They don't talk about that, right? Because and that's kind of, it's a couple of you guys, a couple of videos ago, you guys talked about voting, right? And I always wanted to touch on this. I'm just going to throw that in there since this is part of
Yeah.
parliament, right? My piece was always that I think it's very important to vote because of that fact, right? If me and you, we're running for president, I know for a fact you're never going to vote, right? This community's never going to vote. I'm never going to bring up any issues that they have. It doesn't matter to me because they are not part of the system. So to me, the only way to break that system personally is to vote and vote at a larger scale, or kind of like what O said, right? Before, you either have to vote at a large scale or not vote at a large scale, right? But people are still voting. So it's hard. I feel like it's easier to now increase the number of people voting than to decrease the number of people voting, personally, right? I could go out and we all push and we all ramp that up, but they've kept us at a kind of right in the middle. Not enough people not voting, not enough people voting, but it keeps it right there where nothing we do or say matters per se. We'll get a couple things here, a couple things there, but the grand scheme of things, the things that we really want, right? You think about it, right? Like police reform or something should have been in effect a long time ago. This isn't just a this year issue. This isn't a last year issue. This is an issue that's been from the beginning of everything. But because they want us to be in that system is why that will never change. The system is not made for us to excel in that sense. But I believe if we were to, again, vote at a high level or not vote at a high level, it will open folks' eyes and then we can make the necessary adjustments. So, ever since I heard that video, I wanted to make that point. So that's that.
All right. Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
All right. So let me ask you this, right? So So it's a two-part question, right? So the first part of the question is this, right? So going back to the piece where we talked about in regards to this particular group, pretty much and pretty much inciting that they're gonna react if their president, if their particular candidate don't win the presidency, they already came out and said that, yo, we're gonna start shooting shit up, right? So what do we understand about our Second Amendment right? Second Amendment right? So boom, I'm just gonna throw that out there, right? So now going back to now then, in regards to now my question, right? So I'm sorry. So the first part to that question, and it's where ultimately would then the line be drawn for you, right? Based upon that particular logic, right? So campaigns, groups, individuals feeling like through the Second Amendment's right to expression. Now, if their president don't win, this is what they're declaring that they're going to do, right? So understanding that, right? So I guess my first question would be where would you then draw the line in the sand, right? In terms of where you then get to the point where nope, enough is enough, and ultimately what I'm saying then, meaning to where then you would then say, well, the only way I will feel like I have to stop this is through, let's say, you exercising your own Second Amendment rights, right? And even if that you feel ultimately that's something that you think that's something that you might ever feel it would ever become necessary in that regards, right? And then
Before you ask the second question, so you're saying in terms of when would I feel like I would be like, no, screw that. They're saying this, I'm going to push that. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, I will only say that if I'm fighting in terms of, right, remember I said, if Biden I felt was a strong enough candidate that was going to pull that I felt like is going to carry out my values and what it's going to do for us, then I would be behind that. Why am I going to back? Why am I going to just, so to me, it's like, yes, they said that, right? But I'm not going to just now sit back and say, oh, just because they said that, oh yeah, no, I need Biden to win because I want to see how they're going to retaliate. To me, that's not where I stand, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we all know neither one of them is going to do anything productive. So, okay, if someone's threatening you with violence and they're saying, well, listen, if he doesn't win, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Why am I going to incite that or be part of inciting that? For what? Because I don't believe that if it, then what? Because at the end, right, we know history is going to, as shown us that at the end, we will not win that. We will always be portrayed as the aggressors. Even as these people come out and say these things, if it's a white and black thing, we will be the aggressor at the end of the day. And it will always be portrayed, well, we're the ones out there trying to incite some kind of a war. Again, now, if this was a candidate that was fully about everyone, right? And we're doing things in our communities that I felt like were going to be productive and things that I feel like was going to kind of push us forward, 100% I would back. So that was my line, right? My line is who am I standing on this line with? Because at the end of the day, what side of the line is he on? Both of those candidates on the same side. If you ask me, I don't care if he's a Republican or a Democrat. What side is he on? When the dust settles, where is he going to be standing? He ain't going to be standing with us. I'll tell you that right now. So that's my take. What's your second question?
If this group acts out the agenda in terms of Biden wins the presidency, now this group that publicly said what they were going to do, right, and right, they pretty much declared a hit on civilians, right, and so far our government just sort of kind of just let that slide for a little bit, right. So needless to say, right? So now let's just say if it just so happens that Biden does win, right? And now this group does retaliate, right? And let's say if now, so I guess that's so in terms of clarifying that part real quick, right? So in terms of when you said history will then repeat itself and we will lose that, when you say we, who's the we? Meaning, are you then saying that because when you say if you think about it, they're both going to be in the same side. So obviously we're talking about two white individuals.
Yeah. Look how crazy that is, right? So even if we win, we lose, right? Because in my opinion, if we physically win, right, we're now painted as the aggressors on this thing, even though they've come out and said what they said. And even if we lost, obviously we lost, right? We're losing people, right? It's not going to be to me, it's tough because at the end of the day, right? How do you save face and still? I guess it's how could you stand behind that? Like they're strong behind Trump. How could we be strong behind Biden? When people they're making it behind that, they're making it a Trump thing, black and white thing. So how could I stand behind that?
Mm. So, and I'm happy you, okay, so, all right, so now you're basing it based upon if the perception is then believe that in terms of a form of retaliating against the same group who said publicly this is what they're going to do, you're saying that that will then be perceived as us coming together for the sake of retaliating for Biden.
Well, essentially it is though, right? Is it not?
So, okay, so then
if they're pushing towards for Trump, right? Oh, I wanted Trump to win. He didn't win. Then now again, all of a sudden, because you're black, you're a Democrat. Now I have to now push towards because it's Biden. Again, if it was someone that I felt in my heart, or I based on what they've done in the past, and they have to doing, they've said that they're going to do, which whatever. Then I could see myself personally backing that up. Right? You got to stand for something. You got to sit your ass down, right? I can stand for that, right? Because that, hey, listen, this guy's going to stand for us. I'm going to be out there doing what I have to do. But I don't truly believe that. So I would never encourage anyone to, okay, if these guys, if Trump loses, right, and it comes where the fight is at my steps, of course, you got to do what you got to do. But am I going to now bring that to somebody else's steps? And my answer is no.
No, well, no, never from a perspective of us, we're only going to get the perception of us being the aggressor, but never from a perspective, because when you think about us as a people, right? So ultimately, all of these things that has happened to us, right, that is currently happening to us, but yet still we can always get to a place of reason and a place of logic, and more importantly, a place of empathy, right? So when you when you rationalize those things, right, but then when you look at it from the scope of, right, how is it that again after 400 plus years we're still sitting in these conditioning factors, right, when again we're the people that these things are happening to, but yet still, as much as they try to create this perception that we're the worst of the worst, how is it? Think about it. We're still living amongst these people. We still work with these people. So how is it that, so to me, it's like we sit and we accept a narrative that let's keep it 100. Who is portraying it? Actors, rappers, and what we do, bump it in the lip, go, I'm gonna go support this person. The Decadent Veil, right? The Decadent Veil, right? Check it out, right? So that really breaks it down into context in terms of, highlighting, right, why these groups was even made, right, and how that draws a parallel to the American descendants of slavery, right? To those individuals, right? The true ADOS individuals, so yeah, like I just think that it's unfortunate that we, again, it's the conditioning factor, right? We're as a field, so a part, part of how we're so programmed to talk about things is through the lens of how this system views us, and unfortunately that's all we stay talking about, as opposed to the things that we need to talk about to liberate ourselves, right? It's just so unfortunate that most of the time we're always stuck here, right? And that's the shaping of it, but it's like, nah, we should be over here with it, right? Like, because they already do a good enough job highlighting that. We need to be on this side of the fence, talk about it from a perspective of such thing. But yeah, so second part, right? So
I thought that was the second part, but hit me.
Now you know I can get you off the hook. My fault. I ain't gonna get you off the hook that easy. My bad, bro. My bad. I know I was kind of going back and forth.
Good. Go do your thing, man. Do your thing. Do your thing.
With our hosts, so I think that it's only right that our public knows exactly who we are as individuals, right? People that we've been on this platform, what their position is, what their stance is. and same thing vice versa, right? You guys can ask me about anything, and I answer it. Plain as day, simple as that,
It's all
right?
about transparency, bro. You know what I
Facts.
mean? So,
Facts.
said a lot was said, and I want to thank Arnold for coming on here for another episode. And Life First is over here. He got all the knowledge, man. That rose gold. That's what I call it. Rose gold, man. So I want to thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, drop some comments, because you know we would love some other things to talk about. Want to see what's on your mind, and let us know what you think about the whole election and how it's going to play out in the comments. So without further ado,
What it is, Life First, we out this whoop. Again, thank you very much for checking out yet another show, right? Come back, we got more for you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Second time, I'll be back on again because I got more to say. I got a lot more to say. So we'll get at this again.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, thanks for coming on, man.